On this video, I will take my vector illustration to a printable format. I don't try to make my project to a printable file, but I create a new file for the print. I'll start by creating a new file. I'll start with the print preset. I set the unit to millimeters. I want my print to be 80 centimeters wide. I'll write 800 millimeters to the width. Then I'll decide on the height. I think 600 is a good ratio for the image. Most often, it's good to create the file in print colors, SMYK. It might have been that you have been working in RGB colors. You can also create the file in RGB. You can change the color mode from advanced options. I'll set this file to be RGB. Then I'll click Create. I'll go back to the original file. I'll remove the locks from the layers I need. I'll make the layers I don't need invisible. The scaling in the other file is easier if one of the forms is just the size of the file. I'll scale this form to the edge of the paper. Now I'll select all the forms and copy them. I'll go to the other file and paste them here. By default, all the forms are now on one layer. This is good because sometimes when you print, the layers can create problems. Next, I'll scale my image to appropriate size. First, I'll check from the scale options that scale strokes and effects, transform options, and transform patterns are all ticked. Now I'll scale the file with the black arrow, pressing Alt and Shift. I'll try to scale the file approximately to the right size. After scaling, the Illustrator needs to compute new raster effects. This might take a while. If this takes too much time or the program crashes, your illustration might be a bit too complex. Try removing effects from some of the objects. I'll now align the file to the bottom left. The size is close enough. I'll scale this object back to its original size. Now I have an illustration that is 80 centimeters wide. I'll now crop the file to the right size. I select the artboard tool and drag the upper border. I'm happy with the crop. I'll change the tool back to the black arrow. If the image is super complicated, it might be wise to rasterize some things. In my image, for example, the small bubbles on the background don't need to be in vector form. I select the object and go to Object Rasterize. I'll check that it will have a transparent background and that the resolution is 300 pixels per inch. I'll click OK and Illustrator will create pixels for the bubbles. I'll add one more effect for the glove. Otherwise the colors could get blocky. I'll use the same diffuse glow that I have used on the other forms. I'm now happy with the illustration and I can save it. I'll first save the print file as an Illustrator file. I'll then save it as a printable file from File, Save a Copy. I'll select the type to be Adobe PDF. In the PDF window, I'll select the preset to be High Quality Prints. Then I'll untick the Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities. This PDF will not be editable in Illustrator anymore. This makes the file a lot smaller. Now the file could be printed. If needed, I can put crop marks and bleeds to the file. If you would send this to print, you probably would need to add bleed. Normally 3 mm is the right amount. If I'm only printing one poster, I don't need the bleeds. In this window, I can also transform the colors. This is done from the Output tab. From the color conversion, I select Convert to Destination. I then select the destination to be an appropriate color profile. A good profile for printing is coated Fogra 39 CMYK colors. This selection would change all the colors from your file to print colors. In this occasion, I'm happy with the RGB colors, so I won't be doing a conversion. I click Save PDF, and Illustrator will remind me that the file won't be editable. Illustrator will now save the PDF copy to where I just wanted it to go. I'll now go check the files. The effects made the file quite large. The project was 25 megabytes, the enlarged file 130 megabytes, and the printable copy 50 megabytes. A file with only flat surfaces could easily be under a megabyte sized. The project work should be saved as a high-quality print PDF with the Preserve editing capabilities unticked, with all the objects on one layer. The color profile can be whichever.